Welcome back, everyone. Well, I owe you some videos, so let me clean up my video editing space here and get to work. Haven't really done much lately because it's been so damn hot out here. It's been hitting about 100 degrees, 103 degrees. So yeah, it kind of keeps me inside, which really doesn't help because inside it's 92 degrees, and that's with the air conditioning running. So haven't really gotten a lot done up here. And if the heat wasn't enough, it decided to rain. Oh boy. Well, little to say, the next few days it was just clammy and muggy and hot. I would imagine this is what it's like being in the Amazon. Now, the last we left off, I was working on this Cletrac AG bulldozer and this Caterpillar 15, and we kind of put that aside for right now because they're sitting in the sun and it's too damn hot to work on them. So also, I was working on the rear end for my wife's Jeep, or as I like to call it, my wife's rear end, and that's been put on hold too. It's just so damn hot and sunny that I can't even touch her rear end without burning my hands. I do have all the parts on hand and ready to go. Brand new axles, new bearings, just about everything in it is going to be new, even the ring and pinion. Just got to wait for it to cool down. So I figured what better way to stay cool than to pour some concrete. So I dug a hole, put in a sonotube, filled it with concrete, and that is actually going to be a base for a wind turbine that we're going to reinstall. I've rebuilt it, and it kind of works now. It spins, but the problem is it doesn't put out enough voltage when it's spinning, so it doesn't help me out. I'm going to have to tear it down and look it over again. And in the meantime, Robert found this wind turbine. It had been knocked down and was laying in some brush, so he brought it down. I tore it apart and put new bearings in it. So we'll hook this up and see if we can get power out of it. And when it fell, it did crack the tail fin on it, so I'll just JB weld that back together. That's no big deal. Since we seem to have plenty of water up here, I'm going to replace the hydro turbine. We're going to move it to another place that's a little bit closer to the batteries. This is the old one. You can see why we're replacing it. It's a little crudted up. A lot of mineral deposits there. But the new one is identical. We'll use the Pelton wheel from the old one. And we'll put it in a concrete vault instead of having it in a wooden box. So after rubbing a few brain cells together, I put together this form. The idea was to pour concrete into it and come out with a basin for the hydro turbine to dump its water into. And then while I was building that, I was kindly bitten by a harvester ant. That was itchy and scratchy for about 4 days. Next, we decided to tie into the drain line for the washing machine, which turned out to end at that black T. And so we decided to run it all the way down to the stream. We won't be using the washing machine, but we do want the water to return to the stream and take its natural route. Now, here's the basin that came out of the form. It looks okay. It's a little porous, but it actually came out in 3 pieces. Yippee. So my next idea is to stack it together and fiberglass the inside of it, which will make it waterproof and hold it together, hopefully. And you notice here the drain line coming down looks kind of odd. I got a 6-inch block stacked on top of an 8-inch block. And that's because I made a mistake when I was doing my calculations. If I used 8-inch blocks on either side, I couldn't get my hand in there to tighten down the couplings. So I had to use this 6-inch block so I could get my hand in there and do my thing. Now this is the nozzle that will spray the water onto the Pelton wheel. It will protrude through the side of the box where, of course, it cracked and broke. So anyhow, this is where it's going. Right through the side of this box, through this slot, And I made a big slot here because I need to be able to adjust the nozzle so it hits the Pelton wheel properly. And to give me some adjustments, I will make a couple of plates. I'm going to cast them out of aluminum, and the plates will clamp onto the box and permit me to move the nozzle around and then tighten down a couple of bolts once I get the right setting. Now you might be asking, how come I'm making this thing out of concrete and not just wood or metal? Well, if you've ever heard a hydroturbine, one of these mini hydroturbines, in a metal enclosure or a wooden enclosure, they are very noisy and make a lot of buzzing and splashing. So I figured if I put it in concrete, that will deaden the sound quite a bit. And besides, working with concrete is fun. Even if you do screw it up, at least you have an everlasting testament to your failures. Now there is one thing that we need to consider, and that's our water pressure and our water volume. Without both water pressure and volume, you've got no power to generate electricity. Now, we don't have a lot of volume right now because it's summer, but we do have 90 psi of water pressure because we're tapping our water from a spring about a half a mile up the canyon. If all goes well and my calculations are incorrect as usual, then we should be able to pull maybe 10 amps out of this on a slow day and probably 20 to 30 amps during the winter when we have good water flow and pressure. So we'll keep our battery charged. This, along with our solar panels, we should have no problem. Oh yeah, and the wind turbines, if I get those working, when it blows, or I should say when the wind blows, that'll give us a little bit of extra power. And now for the typical scary mountain stuff. This guy was kind of, cruising along. I caught up with him and followed him for about 2 miles. And he wasn't crowding the line. He was over the line. He was blatantly in oncoming traffic lanes on almost every corner. And most of the corners up here are blind. You can't see around them. So I'm just glad that there wasn't another vehicle coming the other way, or I might have been giving a description to the police on how people got killed. Here's another incident I came across. Apparently a group of motorcycles were coming down the hill, came around this corner, and there were some bicyclists in the road. Okay, back to the mountains here. Apparently we've got something going on ahead. See some emergency vehicles up there and some traffic. Hopefully this isn't going to be another 6 hours of sitting and waiting. We seem to be moving. So we've got some people here that are holding up signs. Apparently they're slow and they want people to know it. Well, that's good for them. Okay, we're coming up on it. Let's see what we've got. Oh, apparently somebody just parked too close to the mountain. Hey buddy, you can't park there! Now here's something I haven't seen in a while. There's a CHP officer ahead doing a round robin, which, it's a traffic break. You're supposed to slow down and not pass him, although it took him quite a while to get people to slow down. But I was wondering what was going on up ahead. So inevitably he did come to a stop. I was expecting there to be a big traffic accident or something, but didn't see any vehicles around. But he went out behind his car and drug out a bicycle. Hopefully that fell off the back of somebody's RV and there wasn't somebody riding it on the freeway. Some of the cyclists around here are kinda cray-cray. So this was my 4th of July celebration. The obligatory Piccolo Pete's. Hope you had a good 4th of July. With all the sparks flying around, I then spent the next 4 hours on fire watch. Well, that'll do it for this round. Hopefully next time I'll have something a little bit more exciting to tell you about. Hopefully there won't be any more accident reports. So until then, see ya! Play us out, Otis.